I'm Dingo Cannon. I'm here in Okinawa, Japan, on my way to the DAWG BITE studios, where every week I'll be talking with a lethal weapon, TJ Madden, live from Australia, where we'll be touching on some of the hottest topics in pro wrestling from around the world. We go worldwide with exclusive interviews with some of the biggest names in pro wrestling and MMA today. Tune in as we go live, here, only on the DAWG.
So Ben, part of the reason that I wanted to have you all on was just for the fans to get you all as part of the family, because you know you are all synonymous with the DAWG BITE. That's what MDC is, what we're all about. But the story that both Dingo and I have been talking up is your story, Ben. So I was wondering if you'd mind taking our fans through your time in the army and why you've got the nickname Bulletproof Ben McCoy.
It's right here, baby.
Yeah, got the shirt on. Okay, so I actually did professional wrestling for 5 years, from 2005 to 2010. I got married. I met my wife through professional wrestling. We got married. We had a kid, and we actually had 2 kids at the time when I decided to do something different. And it was funny because in 2010, wrestling-wise, I was at my best. I didn't feel better body-wise, mentally. Everything was kind of clicking. Storyline-wise, I was getting pushes towards heavyweight championships from multiple companies. I had just gotten done with a big feud with him. I think we ran for about a year, and we had a great time doing it. And yet, in real life, everything sucked. It was I wasn't happy with my job. Bills were piling up. There was stress. There was stress in the first year of a marriage, and thank God I have the wife I have, because I think just about any other girl would have cut ties and split. To have to put up with me at that time period. And I was self-destructive too, man. At that time, I wasn't making good choices, and I was doing dumb stuff, and just drinking too much, and just not being responsible enough as a person. And I remember just kind of came to a point where I literally had to challenge myself to look at myself in the mirror for 5 seconds without looking away, and just like stare. And it was, and I just remember doing it one morning and just thinking it shouldn't be this hard to like look at myself. And I knew then that there had to be a change. And a couple of weeks went by, and I didn't know what to do. I knew something had to change. I just didn't know what it was. And as corny as this is going to sound, my wife and I were sitting on the couch in our house in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. Great town name, by the way. And we were watching America's Got Talent, and it went to commercial. And the first commercial that popped on was the United States Army commercial. Literally the be-all-you-could-be commercial, as corny as that is. And I just remember I looked at my wife and I said, "Do you think I can do that?" And my full expectation at the time, because we were still pretty hot in Afghanistan and Iraq, was her to be like, "Hell no, you're never going to do that. I'll never let you do that." And to my shock, she said, "No, you'd be amazing at that. That's what you should go do." And I went to her recruiting office, I think it was 2 days later, and just kind of, but I kept it hush-hush. I think when I left, he was the only person I knew all the way up until 2-3 weeks before I left. I had already signed my contract to leave, and he was the only one that knew. I didn't tell anybody. I kind of like stopped taking wrestling bookings, and I held it off to tell people as long as I could, because I didn't want it to be a big thing. And I knew a lot of my wrestling friends would try to talk me out of it, and they did. They really tried to talk me out of it. But I had made sure that I had made the commitment to move forward with it before I told anybody. And things get out, and when you stop taking bookings and you're not showing up at places that you're at every month, people are like, well, what's going on here? What's going on here? Why is he not here now? And so I left, went to Fort Benning, Georgia, got my training. I officially graduated from basic training in a couple days. Actually, it might be almost to the day right now, maybe a week. I think I graduated 4 days before Thanksgiving. So yeah, actually it'll be, how about that? It'll be exactly, it's here, 8 years to the day on Shambura that I graduated from the United States Army basic training for being an infantryman. And I got 2 days off had Thanksgiving. Literally the day after he helped me pack up my house. the day after we packed up my house, I cut down to Fort Polk, Louisiana, and got to my duty station. I was there for 16 hours, and sergeant knocked on my door and handed me a letter and said, "I'm Sergeant so-and-so. These are your deployment orders for Afghanistan." And I thought to myself, they're trying to get rid of me already. I just showed up. I haven't even unpacked my bags. And then the next thing you knew, I was on a plane to Afghanistan in January 24th is when I shipped out. And I was there all the way until August 25th, and we did, oh my God, in that time I think we did about 119 combat missions between 3 providences. We were all up and down the west coast by the Pakistan border. We had about 50 days left. We had 15 days of fighting left, and we had 50 days left. We had like a month. They give you a month and a week to kind of tear down everything and pack up all your gear, and you know, I'll process to go back to the United States because it's a big process. There's a lot of stuff that's got to get accounted for, vehicles and equipment, and we were 15 days away from being done. And on August 25th, about 5 o'clock in the evening, we took contact from the enemy, and a sniper wound up shooting me in the face, and the bullet struck me right here in the mouth and went in backwards, which is the only reason I survived, and stopped in the back of my jaw. It broke the front of my jaw in half, shattered the back end of my jaw, and all of this part of my jaw actually fell down into my neck and detached from my skull. I never lost consciousness. I was awake for the whole thing. I yelled for a medic. My medic came over. He started stuffing gauze in my face because I was bleeding pretty bad. My first sergeant came over and saw that I was turning white really quick, and we decided, you know, we were still taking contact from the enemy, so the helicopter couldn't land to come and get me unless we went like down in the backside of the mountain to where they could land with, you know, being safe. And in the best game of charades of my entire life, my first sergeant asked me what I wanted to do. I thought it was really funny that I was a private and he was asking me what I wanted to do, considering he was the guy in charge, but I figured I'll run with the ball, and so I pointed at him and pointed at the medic, and I pointed at myself, and I did one of these and did one of these, and they got the message that I was signaling to get the hell out of there, and we ran down about 450 yards down the side of a mountain with the bullet in my face, and I sandbagged the ever-living God out of them. Every 10 steps they took, I think I took 2, and it was the worst. It was looking back on it, probably not the best idea that I had in my life, but we went with it anyway. And then I did start losing consciousness and wanting it out. I remember the helicopter picked me up, and then after that I woke up in Germany and had a brief conversation with my wife. Fell asleep in Germany. Actually flatlined in Germany because I was having issues with my carotid artery and the swelling in my face. And they brought me back and then stabilized me, and then I woke up again, and after being in a coma for 6 days, and I was in San Antonio, Texas, waking up at Brooke Army Medical Center. And then and then the real work began. You know, the easiest part was getting shot. The hardest part was coming back from it, because I had to learn everything from scratch. I was in a hospital bed for 16 days, and I had to learn how to walk again, and talk again, and eat again, and breathe, because they had to cut a tracheotomy into me to keep my airway, because I had lost the ability to breathe through my mouth and my nose because, again, of all the swelling. I had to do all that. I had a problem with seizures because I had scar tissue on my brain. So I had 6 seizures in a 2-year period. And then the big thing was I had 14 facial reconstructions and 17 total procedures on my face to put everything together and to fix everything. And it took, from the time I had my first, from the day I got shot to the day I had my last medical procedure slash, you know, everything was done type of thing with my face, it took 1,900 days exactly, which is still insane to me. I moved back to Wisconsin in 2013. In July 2013, I retired from the Army. It was basically a situation where I either had to retire and leave and do something else, or stay in the Army and not have a job that I wanted. And I didn't want to stay somewhere where I didn't want to do, I didn't want to go to work every day and not want to be there. So they offered me a really nice offer to leave, and they financially secured my family, and so that's what I did. And I wasn't home that long, and me and Dred reconnected right away, and started talking again, and he kind of coaxed me to come to wrestling shows. It's like, you should just start coming back, and you might like it, just see what you think. And so, yep, somebody died. Oh, so we got sirens out here, Tony. Yeah. We started hanging out again and going to wrestling shows, and I think he took me to Blizzard Brawl. We went to Blizzard Brawl. Then I think that year they had like Matt Hardy and a bunch of guys were there. And, we were kind of got Booker T, and we had a really good conversation with those guys and had a really good time. And, I had actually met the guy who owned the ring, and I offered him to buy his ring because I had heard that through the grapevine that he was trying to sell it. And he didn't like my offer. He said it was too low, so I said, okay, whatever. A couple weeks went by, and he called me back, and he goes, is that offer still good? And I said, yeah. And so I bought his ring and started doing ring rentals with no intention of coming back and wrestling at all. I was just looking to rent rings, be with my buddies, and hang out. And that's where I reconnected with Vic and stuff, and through renting the ring, and gave me something to do, got me out of the house, gave me a hobby, kept my wife, from going insane because I didn't like leaving my house for a period of time, so I drove her nuts. And I think it was August of 14, I think I was rolling around in the ring, and he kind of just pulled me aside and was like, why don't you do this? Like you can. Like you just did a bunch of stuff, like you know what you're doing. And I was thinking to myself, they'll never clear me, it's a stupid idea. And so then him and our other friend Steve wind up badgering me for like a solid 8 weeks, just nonstop. Like, but you should really do it. Like I went to Colorado to go hunt elk, and they were like, no, you should totally come and do it. Like, why are you coming and doing this? And finally I thought to myself, you know what, I'll go to my doctors and I'll ask. But I know they'll say no, and then I can tell them to shut the hell up and leave me alone about it, and I can get them off my back. And, God has a funny sense of humor. And so I went to every doctor, and every single doctor was like, yeah, you should go do that. And I just remember thinking to myself, like, you realize it's like physical things, and I might, like there's stuff that can happen. And they're like, I remember my primary doctor said, Ben, I've had 4 veterans come in this week wanting to play semi-pro football, fight in the UFC, and do boxing. He goes, I like your option way better. And I said, well, all right. And I thought to myself, well, at least I have my wife. My wife will never say this is okay. So there's my saving grace. I can be like, hey guys, the doctor says yes, but my wife said no, so I want happy wife, happy life. And I told her about it, and she's like, well, it's about time. And I was like, oh no. And then I had to train because I wasn't in any type of wrestling shape. So I trained for 4 months, and I think I dropped about 50 pounds and really got into good shape. And I found a good promotion called Great Lakes Championship Wrestling, owned by David Hero, to go and work for. And we did Blizzard Brawl there at the Waukesha County Expo Center against my buddy Steve, and it was amazing. I mean, it was like a dream come true. I mean, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat agented my match, and we had Mean Gene Okerlund interviewed us before we went out to the ring, and then you walk out through the curtain, and there's 2,500 people out there watching you. You're the only 2 local independent wrestlers on the show. Everybody else's names from either WWE, WCW, or TNA or something. So that was a really cool moment. It was really fun. And then I did what any normal person would do, and I retired again and stayed away from wrestling for a year. And then I came back full time in January because again he nagged on me, and I think I wanted to come back too. I think I needed that one match to kind of prove that I still had it. And then came back full time in 2016 in January, and have been going strong ever since. And I feel like I'm 35 now, but I feel like I'm better than I ever was before. I feel like I'm kind of in my prime right now, and it's a fun time to be doing this crazy life that is wrestling. And I got good brothers to do it with, and guys that I know that'll have my back no matter what. And that makes it even easier. And But I'm still looking towards the future too. You know, that's why I'm working with Frontline Pro. And there's an end game. I know my body's not going to last forever, and I know how good. No matter how good my mic skills are, sooner or later, the curtains are going to close, and I still want to be in the business. So, those who can't run their own companies. So, and that's my story. Thanks. I tried to condense it. It's so long. That's like 10 minutes. There's fans that have probably went and taken a pee break. They're like, oh my god, that guy.
He's still talking. Okay.
He's still talking. Somebody made soup during this. They're like, you know what? I'm just gonna finish this up before I come back.